I hate it when companies hide all of the good stuff of what they actually do and make you schedule a demo. So this video, in the next few minutes, I plan to talk about our patient concierge system so that by the end of this video, it will be abundantly clear whether you should get on a call with us because we have shared so much valuable information. My name is Jonah with Boost Patients. I am the co-founder and president. And over the next few minutes, I'm going to do exactly what I just said. I'm going to talk about who our solution works for, who it doesn't work for, how we help you decrease expenses and increase revenue, how we take work off your staff, how we help you increase patient volume. I'm going to walk you through a quick self-audit, 10 questions to find out how many potential patients you're losing every month. And then I'll do a walkthrough of our solution, how it works. By the end of this video, it will be abundantly clear. If you make it to the end of this video, it's a no-brainer. You should book a call with us. And very clearly here in the next few minutes, if you find out that this is not what you thought it was, close down this video and no hard feelings. Okay, let's get into it. As I mentioned, we're going to get into this in just a minute. First off, just want to start out, I'm not here to toot our horn and I won't spend too long on this, but we started Boost 5 years ago. We've worked with dozens of clinics and helped clinics all across the country grow their volume, decrease their expenses, take work off of staff, and schedule more qualified new patient appointments. Been invited to various associations to present. We've hosted masterminds with our clinics where they fly in from all over the country. There's a lot more we could go into that. Happy to share more if we speak on the phone. But for now, just know that we didn't start this yesterday. We've been doing this for a while. In very broad strokes, here's what we do. We contact your potential patients, your leads, and we represent ourselves as an extension of your clinic. No one knows Boost exists. We schedule your leads for new patient appointments, and we do it via AI, automation, and personal human touch. Get more into that in a second. We don't work with everyone. In fact, if you're watching this, there's a good chance that we're not a good fit. And in the next 30 seconds, you will know whether that is in fact the case. Who do we work for and who does this solution best work for? Private practice clinics, orthopedics, bariatric surgery, fertility, dermatology, ophthalmology, aesthetics, urology, those types of practices. We work with practices who want to grow their volume. If you're happy where you are, that's fine, but we want to work with clinics who want to grow volume themselves and have the capacity to do so. This solution works really well for clinics who want to take work off their staff, or maybe they've been their staff is a little bit overworked. They've been flirting with the idea of making another hire. This is a perfect solution to delay indefinitely having to make that extra hire. This works really well for clinics who get more than 50 new patient inquiries per month. If you get less than that, this won't be as effective. So it tends to be the case that clinics that are spending at least some money on marketing and getting at least, in that 50 plus range of new patient inquiries per month coming to your website, that is our sweet spot client. This solution works best for clinics whose average procedure is worth at least $2,000 plus to them. Finally, this solution works best for those who feel that they just have a gut level instinct that they know that they could be getting more patients, that they could be squeezing more out of their current leads that they're getting. Maybe you can't put your finger exactly on it, but you just feel, I feel like we should be able to be getting more new patient hires for all we're doing on the marketing front, for all the leads that are coming in. Maybe you can't put your finger on it exactly, and that's what I'm going to help with over the next few minutes, but you just have that gut level feel. There are 2 ways for a more profitable clinic. Hopefully this is not a surprise for you. Way number 1, decrease expenses. Way number 2, increase revenue. The way we do that in terms of decreasing expenses is taking work off your staff. Nearly every clinic that we speak with, their staff doesn't want to do new patient follow-up, or they don't have the time to do it, or they don't have the skills or training, or that role turns over frequently, and it's just very difficult to bring that person up to speed, have them be good at it, and by the time that happens, that role turns over again. Another common scenario is when a clinic is just overworked. The staff is wearing multiple hats. No one is fully doing this role all that well, and you're considering making a hire. Obviously, you want to put that off as long as you can. That's another indication that by outsourcing it to our solution, that can potentially be a fantastic alternative. On the revenue generating side, we help you increase patient volume. Okay, here is a brief self-questionnaire to find out how many patients you are losing per month. This is our list of best practices. And when we ask clinics who maybe have a gut level feel that they aren't following up with leads as well as they should be, this helps really bring that to light. And it's a great self-questionnaire, whether you work with Boost or not, whether we even speak to you on the phone. These are best practices that you should be doing to maximize how many patients you're actually converting from the leads that come into your clinic. Question number 1 is speed to lead. When a patient lead submits an inquiry, are you personally reaching out to them in 5 minutes or less? That is a key indicator. 5 minutes is what you have before you decrease the odds of that potential patient actually converting to be a patient. If you can reach out in those first 5 minutes, the odds of them converting to become an actual patient massively increases. Question to ask yourself, number 2, are you reaching out via every communication channel? So when you do make contact with the lead, are you contacting them via not only call? That's what we see most clinics do, is they leave a call, or they call, they leave a voicemail, and they hope the patient lead responds. Are you also emailing? And most importantly, are you texting? Most patient leads, the vast majority of the clinics we work with, the huge bulk of the communication is happening via text message. That is how people prefer to communicate now. Question number 3, database. Do all of your potential leads automatically flow into a software database so you can track where they are in the process? This is not your EMR. Your EMR is for patients, but when you have leads reaching out to you, not all of them automatically become patients, right? You have to communicate with them, gather information, schedule them, and not all of them become patients. So you need some central place where you're tracking and managing those leads so that you can effectively know who is falling off, and you can see from a bird's eye view how many of those leads are actually converting to new patient appointments. Question number 4 to ask yourself, length of follow-up. Is your process one where you follow up with your leads at least 8 times over the first 2 weeks when a patient lead initially makes contact with your clinic? Most clinics we work with, before they started working with Boost, do not do this. Most clinics do one or two outreaches, maybe. The data is very clear in showing that you need to make many, many outreaches over those first 2 weeks in order to convert another 50% of patients. Some of them, when you first reach out, will engage with you right away. Great, but you are definitely leaving potential patients on the table by not continuing to follow up for those extra 50% who need several more touch points before you can make contact with them. Question number 5, re-engagement. Again, not everyone will convert and actually schedule that new patient appointment right away. Do you have a system in place that every 90 days you are following up via every communication channel in order to nudge those people? It's a minor miracle that anyone has come to your website, filled out a form, expressed interest. We want to treat those people as the golden egg opportunities that they are. Many of these patients, depending on the average value of patient to you, it could be worth thousands of dollars to your clinic. So do you have a process that every 90 days you're going back, re-engaging those people who have not moved forward in the process? Question 6, ownership. Do you have one staff member whose only focus is to follow up with your patient leads? The big mistake that we see many clinics doing is that they disperse this responsibility among several people, maybe the whole front desk team. Sometimes certain team members will fill in for others. And when it's everyone's responsibility, it's no one's responsibility. And this task of follow-up oftentimes slips through the cracks. Question 7, 24/7, 365. Do you have a way for patient leads to have an actual conversation with your clinic at any time of day, 7 days a week? And I'm talking an actual personal conversation, not a call center, not just a web form, not a chat bot, an actual conversation. That is what's expected in today's day and age. We have so many clinics where they are having conversations with our team as an extension of our clinics, having conversations at midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. That's when people fill out website forms. And that's when, if you're able to engage those people at that time, it makes a world of difference in converting more leads to patients. Question 8, qualification. Do you have a way to qualify patient leads and weed out tire kickers without taking time from your staff? Or is that eating up your staff's time by having those conversations on the phone, having people schedule appointments who have no business scheduling appointments that easily should have been weeded out? Question 9, are you putting up a phone barrier? Here's what I mean. Are you able to gather all the information you need to schedule a patient without having to get on the phone with them? Or is it a critical part of the process that your staff has to get on the phone with them in order to do intake? If that's the case, that's a huge barrier to many people who nowadays don't want to get on the phone. You need to have an alternative where you can schedule and get all the information you need to actually get them on the calendar. I'm talking insurance card photos, date of birth, whatever information you need to get from them. Not having to do that over the phone is a critical step. And if you're requiring people to get on the phone, you are definitely missing out on potential patients. Lastly, the last question to ask yourself, do you have a clearly defined standard operating procedure for your lead follow-up? Could you right now, or ask someone on your team right now, can you document on a whiteboard your entire lead follow-up process? So a lead comes in, fills out the contact form on your website. What happens next? Who reaches out? Which channels? How many times? Where is it being tracked? When do you give up? Having all those things clearly defined is critical, or else if you don't have a clearly defined process, chances are you are likely losing out on potential patient revenue. So out of these 10 questions, hopefully you were keeping track. Maybe 1 in 10 clinics is doing a decent enough job at this. Most clinics are doing 1 or 2 of these things if they're truly honest. And that means that they're likely leaving many thousands of dollars of potential patient revenue per month on the table, not squeezing out as many patients from their leads as they could be. Here's a simple example of a clinic's numbers who's an ideal fit for Boost. I'm going to walk you through the funnel as we see it in terms of leads coming in and expressing interest in your clinic all the way to completing a procedure. So if you think about it, nowadays, no one comes and sees you without first coming to your website. That's just table stakes. And we don't do this part. We have some people who we can refer you to if you need help in this arena, but we don't help get eyeballs to your website. You do that through strategies like SEO, Google ads, Facebook ads, other types of ads, word of mouth, social media, etc. That's how you get people to your website. Now, a certain percentage of those people who come to your website will become leads. That means they've given you their name, their email, their phone, and permission to follow up, but they're not yet on your schedule. They're not yet a patient. They've only expressed interest. A certain percentage of those people will actually move forward and schedule an initial appointment. A common mistake we see is that many clinics assume that the vast majority of their leads are actually moving forward and scheduling initial appointments. That is not the data that we see, and I'll come back to that in a second. So a certain percentage of your leads actually end up moving forward and scheduling an initial appointment or a consultation with you. A certain percentage of those people will end up completing, right? There's some drop off there between those who no-show or cancel, those who actually end up completing an appointment. And then at the very end here, those who move forward and actually complete a procedure. There will be some drop off here. And this is what keeps all the lights on. This is what keeps everyone paid. This is what keeps you in business. So all the way up here to all the way down here, there is drop off at each level. So I'll share some simple example numbers here. Very common type of clinic that we work with gets about 2,000 or so unique website visitors per month. About 5% of that traffic will convert and actually become a lead. And a certain percentage of those leads will move forward and actually schedule an appointment. And a certain percentage of those who schedule an appointment will actually complete that appointment. And a certain percentage of those who completed the appointment will actually move forward and have surgery or whatever type of procedure that you do. So there's drop off all along the way. I'm just using these nice round numbers for illustrative purposes. And if you want to, we can plug your numbers in if we speak on the phone. But this really shows that there's drop off all along the way. Here is where Boost helps. We help you convert more of your leads to scheduled appointments. So if before you were getting 40, if we could help you squeeze a little more out of those leads that you're getting, watch what happens with the numbers. If all the numbers stay the same and none of the percentages change outside of just helping you squeeze a little bit more out of your leads, if we help you get 50 instead of 40, now watch what happens with the math here. Instead of 30 completed appointments, 38. Instead of 20 completed procedures, 25. So a potential 25% increase in the actual revenue generating patient event just from squeezing a little bit more out of your leads. And this is so revelatory to the clinics that we work with who don't even realize that there's more juice to be squeezed out of these leads. The most common mistake we see clinics make is coming back all the way up here and saying, what other marketing can we do? Should we increase our ad spend? And they don't realize that there's so much to be had by helping reduce friction for leads and making it easier for them to schedule an appointment. Okay, in this last section, we're going to get into how it actually works. So let's hop over to that right now. With our patient concierge system, there's no more thinking about your leads until they're ready to book. There's no more training and managing staff to do the follow-up. There's no more playing phone tag, leaving voicemails, collecting info over the phone, replying to emails, or leads slipping through the cracks. It's just handled for you by our team. So here's how it works. Boost is 100% responsible for following up with your leads until they request their initial appointment. Your website team will swap out your forms, whatever forms you have on the website, and they'll just swap them in for our forms. We'll make them look nearly identical. This is a task that can take 20 minutes from your website team. Moving forward, once Boost is plugged into your site and the contact forms are actually Boost's contact forms, when a patient lead submits the form on your website, they will immediately be redirected, and right there on the thank you page, they will be introduced to their patient concierge. Again, this is a member of Boost's team, but they're representing themselves as extensions of the clinic. None of your patient leads know that Boost exists. Our patient concierge is an extension of your team. So immediately, a friendly, smiling person will greet them, welcome them, lay out clear next steps, tell them they'll be reaching out very shortly, and then immediately our system will text them. And this is actually powered by AI. And if you're skeptical of AI, we were highly skeptical of AI for a long time, and it has dramatically changed just in the past few months, let alone the past year. It is incredibly powerful, and it genuinely feels like a true conversation that you're having with a human being. It does not feel like a clunky chatbot that you might have seen in the past when you heard the word AI and you looked into it and you saw something that wasn't all that great. The new AI is incredibly powerful. Here's just a few examples. So first off, we greet the patient, and notice, by the way, this conversation is happening at 11:55 p.m., basically midnight, and we're going back and forth and having this natural conversation. Hey, Wendy, it's great to connect with you. Are you an existing patient or are you considering becoming a new patient? That's wonderful. Welcome. I'm here to help answer any questions you might have about our procedures. Are you ready to take the next step and schedule? Here, what we do is we train our AI and our actual human patient concierge, and we train it against a knowledge base that we co-create with you. So we have seen thousands and thousands of questions that potential patients are asking our clinics, and we've studied that. We consolidated those questions, and we have a bank of about 15 to 20 questions that there's some version of that comprise 99% of questions for patient leads. So do you take my insurance? When are you open? Do I need a physician referral? Do you offer financing options? Those types of questions. We will train our AI and our human patient concierge against your knowledge base so that the answer that we serve up for when a potential patient asks a question represents exactly what you want to say to that patient lead. So for example, in this clinic, they say, if you use insurance, your out-of-pocket cost for the initial consultation is typically less than $100, right? That's training against their knowledge base. We can say whatever you want in this scenario. Here's another great example. This patient lead started speaking in Spanish, and our system is trained to immediately switch over and start speaking right back in Spanish with the exact same type of conversation, but all happening in Spanish. All of our patient concierge representatives are bilingual as well. And so if if we get a patient lead on the phone and we're having a conversation, that conversation can happen in English or Spanish. During the first 2 weeks, our patient concierge system will attempt to reach out 8 times via text and email. Remember earlier I talked about the importance of having several outreaches, especially in those first 2 weeks, via every communication channel. So we'll send emails, texts, voicemails. And if we still can't make contact, we don't give up. We will follow up with all of your leads every 90 days so no one slips through the cracks. And our outreach, of course, is permission-based. We're not reaching out to anyone who hasn't explicitly given their permission to be reached out to. And we make it completely frictionless for the person to unsubscribe if they want to. So they can click unsubscribe, reply stop to a text message, etc. Our patient concierge will answer the phone and answer the leads questions to help them request an appointment. This is not just AI. This is not just automation. You have a true human being who's an extension of your clinic who will get on the phone and help people move forward in the process. Here's what we do when a patient lead expresses interest and is ready to move forward. We get patient leads to fill out a comprehensive form that is customized to your process. So in the past, here's a good way to think about it. What information right now, assuming you get this information over the phone, what are all the questions that you ask a potential patient when you're speaking to them on the phone? What are all of those questions? And can we systematize it and put this into a form so that there's no more having to get on the phone to have that conversation with the patient? So we can get really advanced with this. We can use certain logic and required fields. So if there's certain insurances that you don't accept, we can make it so that they can't even fill out the form if they have one of those insurances, right? We can collect insurance card photo front and back. Most people fill it out on their phone. They can just snap a picture of their insurance card right there on their phone. We could collect what their preferred day of the week is for the consult. We can even make requirements such as, hey, I understand that I must watch the online seminar as part of this process, or I understand I must fill out the required new patient paperwork before I attend my consultation. We can get patients buy-in and just make that whole workflow much simpler without having to get on the phone with the patient. In addition to that, some of our clinics prefer framing it this way, where we invite the patient lead to request their preferred date and time on a ghost calendar that will customize according to when you see new patients. So let's say you see new patients on Mondays and Wednesdays from 1 to 5 p.m. We can open up the date and times on the calendar so that there's a micro commitment from a psychological standpoint that they're requesting their preferred date and time. And of course, we can customize that calendar as well and make sure that we're collecting all the information that you would typically get over the phone, making sure that it's just effortless to fill out right there on their phone. The only thing your team has to do at the end is the admin part. So number 1, confirming the exact appointment time with the patient. And number 2, creating the actual patient in your EMR. There's no need to really call the patient at all because you have all that information. It's as simple as from our system, texting the patient saying, yes, see you on Tuesday the 3rd at 4 p.m. You're good to go. No more phone tag, chasing leads, or having to gather info over the phone. Of course, you can see communication to all of your leads, whether it's texts, recorded phone calls, or emails. And that is the system where your staff will log in order to see all the information that we collected on that potential patient after we answered their questions, whether or not we got on the phone with them. But the only patients that we serve up to you are those who have been pre-qualified and are ready to go and have submitted all the information that you need as a clinic to get them on the calendar. Lastly, we send you a weekly report on the number of appointments booked. So if you've made it this far and this is intriguing to you, we would love to speak with you, talk about your unique situation, find out whether or not you might be a good fit, answer any of your questions, and we're looking forward to speaking with you soon.